Before the first horizon appears, there is a feeling of stillness. Air rests gently on your skin, carrying faint traces of salt, stone, and distant rain. Somewhere, water moves the way it always has, patient and unhurried. Light slips across surfaces shaped by centuries, revealing textures most travelers rush past. This journey is not about distance, but attention. About learning to pause, to listen, to notice the quiet presence of places that ask nothing from you, except that you see them.
You arrive at Salar de Uyuni, and your sense of scale quietly collapses. At more than 3,600 meters above sea level, the air feels thin and crisp, carrying a faint mineral smell of salt baked under the relentless Andean sun. When seasonal rains arrive, the world's largest salt flat transforms into a flawless mirror, stretching across more than 10,000 square kilometers. Sky and earth dissolve into one luminous horizon, and every step crunches against the bright, textured crust beneath your boots. Locals have harvested salt here for generations, navigating invisible routes across a landscape that can blind at noon and freeze below zero before dawn. Travelers fall quiet, disoriented by beauty and vastness, feeling small yet strangely clear. It isn't scenery, it's perspective, humbling, unforgettable.
You feel Torres del Paine before you truly see it. In Chilean Patagonia, winds can exceed 60 miles per hour, carrying the sharp smell of wet grass and glacial water across open valleys. At sunrise, the granite towers ignite in shades of coral and gold, rising dramatically above turquoise lakes fed by the southern Patagonian icefield. The air is cold, even in summer, brushing your face with a steady, restless energy. Hikers move slowly against the wind, boots scraping gravel, jackets snapping in sudden gusts. Weather shifts from sunlight to sleet within minutes, reminding you that this place has a personality. Locals respect its unpredictability, and travelers leave changed, feeling both tested and deeply alive in its wild silence.
You arrive in Zhangjiajie and feel as if gravity has softened its rules. Thousands of quartz sandstone pillars rise vertically through humid subtropical air, their surfaces darkened by moss and drifting fog. The beauty feels unreal, especially at dawn when pale light turns the peaks into floating silhouettes above the forest. You would hear distant birds and the soft echo of footsteps on damp stone paths, while a faint earthy smell rises from the wet ground after morning mist. Visitors slow down instinctively, speaking quietly as if the mountains might listen. Carved by erosion over millions of years, Zhangjiajie feels ancient and strangely alive. It's the kind of place that lingers in your memory long after you leave. You'll want to return again someday, quietly.
You stand at the rim of the Grand Canyon and suddenly understand what scale really means. Stretching 277 miles long and over a mile deep, it reveals nearly 2 billion years of Earth's history carved by the Colorado River. The desert air is warm and dry, carrying a faint smell of sun-baked rock and dust. At sunset, layers of red, orange, and violet ignite across the canyon walls, shifting with every passing minute. You would hear distant wind moving through the vast space, and far below, the barely audible rush of the river. Families lean quietly against stone railings, tracing rock layers with their eyes. The texture of the canyon feels raw and ancient. Standing there, you don't just see geology, you feel time pressing gently against you. You slip into the warm waters of the Great Barrier Reef and instantly feel suspended inside a living world. Stretching over 1,400 miles along Australia's northeast coast, it's the largest coral reef system on Earth. Sunlight filters through clear turquoise water, revealing vibrant coral gardens in shades of neon blue, gold, and violet. The air above carries a clean ocean smell, while below, everything feels calm and weightless. You would hear a subtle crackling sound underwater, created by tiny reef creatures moving constantly around you. Schools of fish glide past in flashes of silver and yellow, brushing the water with soft motion. Divers move slowly, almost reverently, aware of the reef's fragile beauty. It's not just scenery, it's a living ecosystem that feels mesmerizing and unforgettable to witness. You first see Mount Roraima rising like a stone island above the rainforest, its sheer cliffs climbing nearly 400 meters straight into drifting clouds. This ancient tabletop mountain reaches about 2,810 meters high and sits exactly where Venezuela, Brazil, and Guyana meet. The air at the summit feels cool and damp, often near 50 degrees Fahrenheit, carrying the fresh smell of rain and wet rock as mist curls across the plateau and hides the horizon. You would hear wind sweeping across the flat stone surface and water dripping from constant fog and rain. Trekkers move slowly across dark rock formations and shallow pools, aware they are walking through one of Earth's oldest landscapes, shaped over nearly 2 billion years. Indigenous Paimon communities consider it sacred, and standing there, surrounded by clouds, you feel as if you've stepped into a forgotten world. You arrive in Banff National Park and immediately notice how clear the air feels. Set high in the Canadian Rockies, this protected wilderness stretches across more than 2,500 square miles of alpine valleys, glaciers, and pine forests. Even in summer, mornings can feel crisp, carrying the clean smell of evergreen trees and cold glacial water. When sunlight hits Lake Louise, The water turns an almost unreal shade of turquoise, reflecting snow-dusted peaks with perfect stillness. You would hear paddles dipping softly into the lake and distant wind moving through tall pines. Couples and families wake before sunrise to watch the first lights spill across the mountains, sharing quiet moments that feel deeply personal. The texture of smooth stones along the shoreline and the cool mountain air make everything feel vivid. Banff isn't just beautiful, it invites you to slow down and truly notice where you are.
You step into Wadi Rum and feel the silence before anything else. This vast desert in southern Jordan stretches across nearly 280 square miles, shaped by wind into towering red sandstone cliffs and sweeping dunes. During the day, temperatures can climb above 100 degrees Fahrenheit, and the air carries a dry, sun-warmed scent of sand and rock. At sunset, the landscape glows deep crimson, and the light softens every ridge and shadow. You would hear wind sliding gently across the dunes and the faint crunch of sand beneath your boots. Bedouin families welcome travelers with sweet tea, sharing stories passed down through generations. At night, the sky explodes with stars, brighter than you imagined possible. Wadi Rum doesn't overwhelm you, it slows you down, inviting you to feel the vastness and quiet strength of the desert.
You enter Plitvice Lakes and immediately notice how water seems to move everywhere at once. This Croatian national park holds 16 terraced lakes connected by more than 90 waterfalls, all surrounded by dense forest. The beauty feels almost painted, with emerald and turquoise pools shifting color under changing light. The air is cool and fresh, carrying a gentle, earthy smell of moss and wet leaves that lingers as you walk. You would hear a constant layered sound of flowing water echoing through wooden pathways built just above the surface. Visitors move slowly, pausing to watch sunlight ripple across clear pools and smooth limestone edges. In autumn, golden leaves drift across the water, adding quiet motion to the scene. Plitvice doesn't rush you. It invites you to breathe deeply and stay present inside its calm, living landscape.
You land on Socotra Island and feel like you've stepped into another era. Isolated in the Arabian Sea for millions of years, nearly 1/3 of its plant life exists nowhere else on Earth. The beauty feels almost alien, especially when you see the umbrella-shaped dragon's blood trees rising from dry limestone plateaus. The climate is hot and arid, often above 85 degrees Fahrenheit, and the air carries a salty ocean scent mixed with warm resin from sun-baked bark. You would hear wind sweeping across open plains and distant waves striking white sand beaches.
Local families herd goats and rely on endemic plants for medicine and shade, living closely connected to the land. The texture of rough stone under your hands and the intense blue of the surrounding sea make everything feel vivid. Socotra isn't just unusual, it feels like discovering Earth's hidden experiment.
You arrive in the Lofoten Islands above the Arctic Circle and immediately feel how light behaves differently here. Even in winter, temperatures are milder than you'd expect, often hovering around 30 degrees Fahrenheit, thanks to the Gulf Stream. Jagged peaks rise straight from deep fjords, and red wooden cabins line the shoreline like quiet punctuation marks against snow. The air smells sharply of salt and drying cod, carried by steady coastal winds. You would hear waves folding against black rock and seabirds calling overhead. Fishing has shaped life here for centuries, and locals still hang cod on wooden racks to dry in the cold air. In summer, the midnight sun stretches golden light across the water. In winter, the northern lights ripple silently above. Lofoten feels remote yet intimate, a place where nature and community remain closely intertwined. You hear Victoria Falls before you ever see it. Stretching over a mile wide along the Zambezi River, this immense curtain of water drops more than 300 feet into a narrow gorge, creating a constant thunder that echoes for miles. Locals call it the smoke that thunders, and as you approach, mist rises high into the humid African air, carrying the fresh scent of river water and wet stone across the surrounding rainforest. You would feel cool spray settling on your skin and hear the roar vibrating beneath your feet as rainbows form in the drifting mist. During the rainy season, the flow becomes almost overwhelming, transforming the landscape into a living wall of motion. Travelers stand at the edge, smiling through the mist, feeling both small and electrified by the sheer power of nature. You step into Antelope Canyon and feel the temperature drop instantly, the desert heat replaced by cool, shadowed air. Located in northern Arizona on Navajo land, this narrow slot canyon was carved over thousands of years by flash floods. The beauty reveals itself slowly as curved sandstone walls glow in shades of amber, rose, and deep orange. A faint earthy smell lingers in the air, mixed with the dry scent of desert sand drifting along the floor. You would hear soft footsteps echo gently through the narrow passage, and occasional grains of sand sliding down smooth stone. At midday, beams of sunlight pierce through the canyon's openings, illuminating floating dust like golden mist. Visitors pause quietly, tracing the flowing textures with their eyes. Antelope Canyon feels intimate and alive, as if light and stone are quietly shaping each other.
You approach Iguazu Falls and feel the sound before the view. Stretching nearly 2 miles across the border of Argentina and Brazil, more than 275 waterfalls crash through dense subtropical jungle. Warm, humid air carries the fresh smell of wet earth and river mist, while sunlight breaks through drifting spray, forming brief rainbows above the roaring water and emerald canopy below. You would hear constant thunder layered with birdsong as wooden walkways lead you closer to the famous Devil's Throat. Mist settles on your skin like cool rain, and the ground trembles softly beneath your feet. Families lean over railings together, laughing in disbelief, sharing a moment that feels both powerful and strangely peaceful inside the endless motion. You leave changed by the scale there.